What's up, everybody? Welcome back to the College Loop Podcast, episode 35 of the College Loop Podcast, or the Frank Thomas episode, which is a little important today because the times have been announced for the Frank Thomas unveiling. But before that, let me introduce y'all to my co-hosts, as always, Harrison Tarr and Daniel Locke. How y'all two doing?
Never better.
I retweet that.
I'm excited, Dylan. We got a lot of big stuff on the show.
We do. And just to give you the times, Frank Thomas' statue will be unveiled at 10 o'clock a.m. on April 8th, which right after that at 1 o'clock is 8A. And right after that at 3:30 is Auburn versus Texas A&M. So we're going to be in Auburn all day on Saturday on April 8th.
It will be a busy Easter weekend on the Plains filled with baseball, football, and celebrating the history of Auburn athletics. Super excited for that. You know what else I'm excited for, guys? We have got an exclusive interview with soon-to-be NFL linebacker, former Auburn linebacker, Owen Pappoe, and he was a ton of fun. I'm not going to waste any time. Let's cut right over. Owen Pappoe, exclusive interview right here on the College Loop. Yes, now it is my pleasure and privilege to introduce Owen Pappoe, former Auburn linebacker, two-time team captain, 256 career tackles, and a little bit of a hometown hero for me, guys. And someone I've been fortunate enough to know.
Former employee at Brewster's, used to work with my man Harrison. You know, a lot of people.
I apologize you ever had to put up with me at age 16. Looking back, I cringe too. So, but I've had the privilege of watching Owen play ball since you were in the 8th grade, man. Actually, so that's been something I've been blessed to be able to do. And now we're getting to talk ball. You were in my first press conference, so this is like a weird full circle moment for me. And I'm hyped to talk some ball. The guys were hyped when you said you were ready to come on. And let's just jump right into it for real. How surreal is it? You've closed the college chapter, man, and now the NFL's on the phone.
Bro, it's crazy, because I started playing football back in 7th grade. And kind of how you mentioned 8th grade, that's when I started getting offers and stuff. So back then, that's kind of when it got serious for me. Like, I can possibly have a future in this game. Just growing up, like, clicking on TV, watching the combine and stuff, seeing all the big time dudes like Derrick Henry, DK Metcalf, all those guys. Man, it's just surreal, man. Like, I can't believe I'm here. But, I've been putting the work in, man. It's truly a blessing, though. I'm just taking everything in day by day.
Absolutely. Dylan, you want to ask him about the combine? You're itching.
Yeah, I'm one of the sickos that watched the combine through and through. So I was really excited the first day. It was you, Derek Hall, Colby. I hate that Iku wasn't able to perform in it. But you actually balled out. You got 4.39, tied for second all times in 2003 in the linebacker position. That was wild that you can run that fast as a linebacker. But where was your head at that day, and how pumped were you to show off how crazy of an athlete that you are?
Man, I just couldn't wait. Actually, what people don't know, bro, I almost do any of the workouts on the field. I almost did only interviews. Like the day before we went out there, I ended up straining my oblique muscle. It's like, right side of your ab. So like throughout the whole week, we're doing like preparation in the hotel, just working on starts and stuff. And I couldn't even run for real, it was killing me that bad. But, the night before all the testing, I had a real good talk with my athletic trainer, Tommy. He just got my mind right, man. Just to reassure me, like, bro, we've been putting in all this work for months. Like, bro, just go out there and be, so to go. That's how I did. I kind of surprised myself just what I was dealing with, because I was pushing through pain the whole time, but nobody really knew it. But man, it was crazy to go out there and do it, man. Like, I've been dreaming of that moment for so long, and to go out there and make it happen, it's crazy.
OP, you're sitting here and you're going to tell me you ran a 4.39 and you were hurt?
Hey,
bro, I how it happened, but I had I'm still dealing with it right now, low key. I had my oblique.
Not hurt, NFL, if you're listening. Not hurt. He's just discomfort.
I'm good. It ain't nothing crazy. It's just, I had to do a little stem work on it to get it back right. But nah, bro. Hey, this is what I do, man. It comes with the game. You got to push through things sometimes. But hey, it's just a little adversity. Something I had to deal with a lot at Auburn. So just went ahead to push through with that.
And you bring up that word, adversity. And a lot of draft analysts have discredited your ability to play linebacker in NFL because you're listed as undersized at 6 foot. And so what do you say to doubters when you hear that or see it from a Mel Kiper or someone of that?
Yeah, I mean, I don't really need their cosign to go out there and be great, bro. So I just focus on myself and my game, man. I know the type of player I am. I know what I'm and how good I can be, So I just put my head down and I keep working, man. Like, whatever any of the naysayers say, it don't matter much to me. So
Owen, you've never lacked in the confidence department, man, in the good way. You've been a humble dude the whole way through, but you've never not believed in yourself, and that's a tightrope you have to walk, right? There's a line between arrogance and confidence, and you've gone through. I mean, Auburn put you through hell and back, and they did. You can say whatever you want. They put you through hell and back, and you stayed true to what you believed in and who you were. Man, where do you keep that? I guess the strong will. Like, where does that come from, man?
Man, it just comes from my parents, man. Like, just growing up, man, they just let me know life's not easy. You know, like my dad used to say all the time, like everything comes with a price in life. You always got to just work hard, man. You can never cut corners, and you always got to believe in yourself, and no matter what kind of situation you're in, because everybody can be doubting you, but as long as you have that confidence in yourself that you can achieve whatever it is that you're trying to achieve, man, you're gonna be good every time.
Heard that. Daniel, go ahead, man.
So, Owen, back in 2019, like when you're going through your recruiting process, what made Auburn stick out, and what made you choose to bring your talents to the Plains?
Yeah, so kind of touched on it earlier. I had before I started high school, I had I don't remember the exact number, but I know it was over 12 Division I offers, and Auburn was actually the second school that offered me. So just the fact that I've been back and forth to the Plains for the last 4.5 years at that point, and then at the time when they first offered me, T. Will, he was a GA at the time. He transitioned over into a linebacker coach, so I already had a real good relationship with him. I loved the area, wasn't too far from home. So, kind of be able to get away, be in a new environment so I can grow some, but I'm not too far away from my fam, And it was a point in my recruitment, I want to say about my senior year. I wasn't playing as good in high school. A span of maybe like 3-4 games. And, while every single, coach is just, blowing smoke on my ass, telling me how great I am. T. Will, he was the only one who kept real with me, like, yo, like, what's going on? You're not looking like yourself. No, you can use your hands better, run to the ball more, do this better, do that better. You know what I'm saying? And it just made me have a whole nother level of respect for him, because I'm like, okay, wow, like this dude like really wants to coach me, this is not just recruitment for him or him just getting another good player, So shout out to Coach T. Will, man. He's truly one of the, the biggest reasons I ended up going to Auburn.
And he's going to be a damn good football coach going forward.
DC at Arkansas now, man. So I'm looking forward to.
That's right. Even you may want Auburn to beat him every year, but you're hoping T. Will's getting the job done for sure. A good dude and an Auburn guy for sure. You committed early, Owen. You committed as a junior, right?
Yeah. Well, I think it was a summer going into my senior year. So.
Okay. I was about to say I feel like I remember I was sitting on the golf course watching your commitment. You and Wanye committed together, right?
Oh yeah, it was a bunch of us in we at the Battery in Atlanta.
Battery, yeah. That was wild. Owen decided to had me thinking he was going to Georgia until the 11th hour, so that was fun. Daniel, you had something else you wanted to ask Owen? I think that you said kind of went hand in hand.
Yeah. So you experienced a coaching change, really two, another one towards the end of your career. So just kind of how do you connect with the guys in the locker room now that are going through that, and what would you say to them?
Really, man, just remember that y'all playing for each other. We fight the fight every day. We're out there grinding, blood, sweat, and tears into this grind every single day. It doesn't, regardless of, who the staff is up there, So as long as you're playing for your brother to your left and your right, man, you're going to be good. And that's all we need. Like, even when all that, the crazy stuff was happening in Harsin, this time last year, looking out from the outside in, seeing all the stuff in the media, you would think like the team's in, shambles. But really on the inside, like we were good. Like we was actually having some of the best, workouts and 7-on-7s that we had up to that point, that year. So, man, as long as they stick together, keep their head down, don't focus on what the media's, talking about or whatever like that, and just play for each other, man. I feel like they're gonna be good. And I've been hearing about them as well. Like the leadership is getting taken to a whole nother level. Guys going harder. Some of the issues that we had last year are being eliminated. So I feel like the team's gonna be real good this year.
You can't come on and not talk about Coach Larck. I think you knew that was coming. You play for each other for sure. I mean, the hell, those are your brothers, the guys you spend 99% of your time with when you're at school. There was a different visible level of brotherhood when Coach Cadillac had his little run at the end of the year, and yeah, as Dylan flexes his little autographed picture of Coach Cadillac in the corner. How fun was it to be part of? I mean, this is not me dragging you guys. You guys were having a rough year. You look around that A&M game and see the support that people had for Coach Cadillac and for you guys. How cool was that?
Well, it was amazing, man. And shout out to Larck, because like he brought Auburn back. It finally felt like the school that I committed to again, Like, hell, we in the locker room pregame. We got all the alumni, in there with us, and that's something I haven't experienced since like my sophomore year, you know what I'm saying? So just seeing guys like, Carlos Dance being there, dapping me up before the game, man, giving me words of encouragement, man. It meant the world to me. And really just getting back to our roots, man. Larck's a guy who, really truly connected with everybody on the team. Well, he tried his best to connect with everybody on the team on a personal level. So just knowing that your coach like truly cares for you, man, it meant a lot to us, and it helped us, bring out another side of our game. So, yeah, it
was fun to watch. And on a less serious note, who's the funniest guy in the locker room? We've heard Worm time and time again. We got to hear some of the funniest guys you played ball with at Auburn.
Chandler Wooten for sure. He's in my top 5. Him and Malcolm Askew together. Those are the funniest dudes you'll ever meet. Diane Puckett, he's a sleeper. I'll give you one more. Who else? Desmond Tisdale. He funny as hell. Yeah, messing with Des. Yeah, now we got a team though. So
we talked to, we had Anders and we had Nick Roms on this past weekend, that was a ton of fun. They were talking about what's up?
Nick just got married yesterday.
Yeah, sure did. He sure did. Anders invited us to the wedding. Just throwing that out there. He invited us to Nick's wedding, so we're figuring you were going to invite us to your draft party. I don't know how that works, but we figured to continue the tradition.
Trying to get that thing planned out, bro. I ain't had no time to really look into it. I need to hurry up because time running out.
You sure do. Yeah, we all of those guys have said that we've heard Grant Loy was a trip. We've heard Oscar Chapman was a trip, and people saying that. I'm telling you, Sean Shivers, time and time again. Apparently, he just says shit you don't even understand.
Dude, that's South Florida in him, bro. And Chapman, man, he do some things I can't even say on camera, but we got a whole team, dog. I'm telling you.
Real brotherhood. Dylan, I'll stop hogging. I had to throw out that question there. You knew that we had to talk.
All right, so whenever the NCAA passed not legislation, it's not like a law, but you could start wearing the number 0. And you've worn 41 your freshman year of high school. You wore 1 throughout the rest of high school. You wore 10 when you came to Auburn, and you eventually changed to 0. What prompted the 10 to 0 change?
Because that shoe is different. I wanted to stand out. You wear a number like 0, you got to be a dog. You know what I'm saying? Plus, like I wanted to wear 0 back in high school too, but they had the same rule as college where you couldn't wear it, ineligible number or whatever. So like once I heard that, I'm like, oh, bet, I gotta have OP. So you gotta give me the O on my chest. You know what I'm saying?
That's right.
Yeah. All right. Well, what number are you looking to wear in the NFL? Because you can't wear 0 in the NFL either, but you can wear a college number.
It don't matter to me, man. You make the number. So if they gave me the opportunity to choose and it's a single digit that's available, probably go for a single digit. But if not, then it is what it is. I'll rock whatever.
Owen Pappoe wearing an obscure like 39 and still making plays, like some making 39 look good.
I to aim to get like a 33, 44, you know what I'm saying? If one of the lower numbers and not
right. Number 94, Owen something crazy like that. Hey man, what's been the I'm telling you, there's got to be some kind of weird angle once you leave school and you realize that okay, I'm going pro. I'm going to be drafted. At what point does it hit you like, holy shit, I'm about to be a professional football player?
Right when you're out here, bro, because it's like you just got to fall back on all your training. You know what I'm saying? Because like a lot of success that people have on the field, it comes from like how they spend their free time. So are you gonna be downtown in the club every weekend? You know what I'm saying? Getting drunk as hell, trying to party all the time, or are you gonna take time, like taking care of your body? You know what I'm saying? Trying to get ready. Make sure you run the fastest 40 that you possibly can. Are you going to be doing, as much interview prep as you can, board work and all that so that you can impress these coaches when you get in front of them? You know what I'm saying? So that's really the approach I took to it, man. Really just trying to use a lot of my free time doing the right things, trying to just make sure I set myself up to be in the best position, that I can, come April 27th. So just can't wait, man.
Heard that. Dylan, you want to ask about the nickname? I know.
Yeah, we're a big nickname podcast. My nickname is the Tank, but I couldn't really claim that one at Auburn as much because there was another guy who wore an Auburn football jersey. So the Freak is the nickname I hear a lot. It's the Freak and OP. So where did the Freak nickname come from?
The Freak, I got that from my boy Coach Ron back in my 7th grade year, first year playing football. I played defensive end, and that whole year, like, I had zero technique. Like, I had the ugliest stance ever getting off the line, but like I'm making hella tackle for losses and sack every other play. You know what I'm saying? So after the last game of the season, he's like, bro, like, I want you to look up Javon Kirsch. Like, this is who you play like. So you remind me of. Study him. Look at him. Look at the aggression that he plays with. You know, things like that. But you know, his nickname was the Freak. So from there, it kind of just stuck. And then like once I, you know, the more I got into my career, I started doing all these freakish things at like the Nike Opening, things like that. You know, the name kind of there. And then OP, just my initials, man. My family, that's what my family called me. Been calling me that since I was a baby, you know. So that's the nicknames right there.
Well, if you ever need new nicknames, we seem to manufacture them here. Janai Broom, I don't know if you saw where where people started calling him the street sweeper. That started here.
All right, okay. Look,
I
gotta give me something then. I ain't gonna let you cook up. You know what I'm saying?
We'll workshop it.
So,
Daniel, go ahead, man.
So, Owen, we hear this all the time, like the Auburn family. Everyone always says it. We ask everyone we get on the show what it means to them. So what specifically does the Auburn family mean to you?
The Auburn family means a lot of things to me, man. Like togetherness, you know, giving you guys heart attacks on game days, you know. Really,
you know,
just sticking together through no matter what, you know. That's what family truly is, period. You know, I give this example all the time because it happens to me every time. Like I go into an airport, like even being out here in California, like so many people done came up to me saying War Eagle, you know, saying that, you know, they appreciate me for everything I've done for these last 4 years for Auburn, you know. So just the constant support that the Auburn community, you know, gives to you, you know, worldwide, well, shoot, countrywide. I ain't even been overseas yet, but man, I'm pretty sure there's love out there too. But man, that's it just means everything to me, man. You know, you love Auburn, Auburn's gonna love you back. So.
If that's not the truth. Hey, question, another little side question for you. We ask everybody. You a barbecue guy, Owen?
Oh yeah. For
okay.
Sure.
Best barbecue spot in Auburn.
I
don't know if you're NIL contractually obligated to answer this one way or not, but I didn't do my homework on that.
I'm more so like actual barbecuing on the grill. So
okay.
If I'm a barbecue spot, I'm gonna boost his head up by saying this. I'm gonna say Derek Hall's barbecue because he's serious. He's something serious on the grill. Derek, don't be acting crazy if you see this somewhere. But nah, he be throwing down on the grill, bro.
All right, we need to get you. You need to get us in contact with Derek. We don't even give a shit about football. We need to interview him about his barbecue.
Got you.
that would be electric.
Yeah.
Absolutely love it. Anything else you guys got before we can let Owen get back to it and rest up? And I guess I had one last actual ball question. Daniel, Dylan, you got one as well?
Yeah, I got one more ball question.
I'm gonna sneak mine in, and then you got it. We'll let Owen get out of here.
Right.
What if someone, if you get drafted to the league? I mean, obviously you're gonna play in the league wherever they ask. Has anyone ever mentioned maybe moving to corner?
Corner.
Yeah, excuse me, safety. My apologies.
I ain't never played corner in my life.
No, safety. That's a corner.
No team. Every team I've talked to has been talking either Mike or Will. So I don't know. I mean, I'm ready for anything though. You know, so if a team works, it's like okay. I'm here now. I gotta respond to it. But no, I haven't talked to any teams about playing DB.
Word. I didn't mean to say corner. My bad. I meant safety. My mind's just another place. I would talking. You might be the most effective nickel in the history of ever. You also shouldn't move that fast for a linebacker. So there's just questions. You know what I mean? That's that. We talk about it a lot at the Auburn Daily. We're like, dude, this guy could play anywhere in the field. Dylan, go ahead.
Yeah. So once you got to Auburn in 2019, you started. Well, you were the starter for the entirety of your career, barring any injuries that came up. What you're leaving behind a linebacker core that is bringing back four starters or four players that did start: Wesley Steiner, Cam Riley, Robert Woodyard, Eugene Asante, and bringing in two more guys in Austin Keys and Demario Tolan. What does the future of this linebacker room look like minus the Freak?
Man, I think they're in good hands, man. You know, we got a lot of good athletes in there. You know, a lot of smart guys that I'm sure going to take their time to study the defense and make sure they're out there quarterbacking how they need to. Like a guy like Wesley Steiner, who he's almost too smart for his own good sometimes, but he's going to end up being a Mike linebacker. I haven't been to any spring practices yet. I'm just talking, just guessing really. But, a guy like him, a guy like Cam Riley playing the wheel, finally got got a full season underneath his belt, so he's experienced now. I feel like they're going to go out there and just play confident, Then you got the Robert Woodyers of the world who, so he didn't really play too much I think he only played in like 2-3 games or something like that. But just seeing what he did in practice, seeing the type of player that he can be, so if his development process goes how it's supposed to be, I feel like he's gonna be a scary player. You know what I'm saying? Like a Deshaun Davis type player almost. I know that's a big statement for Rob, so I don't put the pressure on you, but I gotta see what he can do, and I'm really excited to see his development. Even Desmond Tisdale, this is going on his 4th year there too. So man, I'm expecting big things from him as well. I haven't really heard too much about the new guys that transferred in, man. But just knowing the guys who's already in that room, I already know that Eugene Asante, he's been doing great too, from what I've heard. But I already know the competition in the room is going to be great, man, and I don't expect nothing less but greatness from those guys. So I'm gonna try to be able to catch a spring practice maybe sometime next week, but so I can be able to tell y'all more. But I think those guys.
There you go. Hey, we were talking before we got on the show about Demario Tolan's taking 0, man. Y'all might have to chit chat about that real quick. What's up?
They gave it to him, or I don't know.
Yeah.
Okay, yeah. Now he got to go crazy now.
gotta carry on the legacy. If he's not putting quarterbacks on their ass, and then he's not doing his job right. But
like,
what's up?
Training with like 3 Penn State guys out here. We talk about that all the time. It's funny.
Yeah, I asked before we came on the show, I was like, am I allowed to say introduce Owen as the father of Sean Clifford? And I was informed that was not allowed. Bro, I mean, bro's so old, I'm amazed that he survived that hit. But anyways, different level. Owen, thanks for coming so much for coming on the show. Friend of the program, welcome back. Anytime you want to talk ball, man, we're always going to be big supporters of yours, and we appreciate the hell out of you coming on. It's always good talking ball. You're one of the most intelligent football minds I know for sure, and a hell of a football player. We're excited for your pro career, and make sure you stay in touch, man. Don't be a stranger.
Got you, man. Appreciate you reaching out to having me on this, man. So hope y'all all have a good one now.
Take it easy, man.
Yes, sir.
All right. Well, we ended up talking about a lot of the future linebackers. Thank you to Owen Pappoe for showing up, OP or the Freak, or now we have to workshop a nickname for him.
We're working on it.
We're currently working on it as we speak. And linebackers are going to be the biggest question mark for this upcoming football season. I mean, we're looking at a linebacker room full of Wesley Steiner, Cam Riley, Robert Woodyard, Eugene Asante, Desmond Tisdale, all returning. And, of course, you bring in Austin Keys from Ole Miss and Demario Tolan from LSU. And this linebacker room, a lot of talent there, but not really a lot of proven talent is where I'm going to go with that. Just because we don't know, Cam Riley and Wesley Steiner weren't the best last season. Demario Tolan didn't get a lot of reps last year at LSU. Austin Keys played, I don't know. I don't have the stats in front of me, but I know he was
limited snaps.
He was limited snaps at Ole Miss. And of course, Eugene Asante, Desmond Tisdale, and Robert Woodyard. Robert Woodyard was redshirt freshman, and Eugene Asante and Desmond Tisdale were all in the back end of that linebacker depth chart. But yeah, linebacker room, big question mark. What are y'all's thoughts on it?
Probably the biggest question mark of the year. I say that with the blaring elephant in the room that is the quarterback situation, even though we presume that's Robbie Ashford. Another story, another time. We'll talk about that plenty on the show. I think the linebacker room is the biggest what if, right? Because this team, I think that everyone in this podcast, and including Owen, who's on today, thinks that this room can be very special. I mean, you mentioned I'm super high on your additions of Austin Keys and Demario Tolan. God knows I've been truthing Demario Tolan since his commitment to Auburn, since the day that we kind of got word before this even happened, Dylan. And I texted you and said, holy crap, I think we just got a baller on the Plains. And I still do think Auburn got a baller. So I think that there's a lot of, like you said, it's unproven, but a lot of, I guess, the biggest room for improvement this year, right? And I don't think that that's a stretch whatsoever. And a group that could be very special, but also could be extremely middle of the road. Daniel, your thoughts?
Yeah, so I feel like this is the group that's really going to make or break this, not only the defense, but the whole team.
Sure.
This group has a lot of potential to be a top 5 linebacking core in the SEC. If that's the case, I think the Auburn's going to be giving up around 18 to 20 points a game, which in today's football is pretty good.
That's awesome.
However, I don't think they're going to be bad. I feel like their floors to be kind of mid, about 7, 8, 9 in the SEC, somewhere in that range. In which case, I think that they'd be giving up about 25 to 30 points a game.
You're still a bowl
It's a
eligible
whole
team.
touchdown difference. I think that this group could be making just by themselves every single game.
Sure.
And you look at it, the linebacker room is the biggest question mark of the entire team. But I mean, on this defensive line, pretty daggum proven. A lot of dogs coming in from the transfer portal as well. And of course, Keldrick Falk stepping in. Of course, you got Justin Rogers coming in, Marcus Harris, Jeffrey Emba both returning, and Elijah McAllister probably going to be the starter on the edge. But defensive line, pretty proven across the board. And then, of course, you look at the secondary. We have preached how high we are on this Auburn secondary going into this season. And it looks like it could be one of the best secondaries we've seen in a hot minute for the Tigers. And it just, who's going to lock up the middle of the field? That's what you use your linebackers for. Auburn's going to be running a 4-2-5. You're going to have 2 linebackers on the field at any given time. And we don't know who those are right now. We've heard that Mario Tolan and Wesley Steiner have been getting the starting reps, but you don't know where Eugene Asante is lining up at. You don't know.
And we've also heard Austin Keys is getting started. We've heard lots of different things.
Like the linebacker room has probably been the most mismatched, switched up positions because you don't know who's starting where. Someone could be on the left, someone could be on the right. Auburn could run a 3 linebacker set. We don't know. And that's just how wild this linebacker room has been.
And to the new coaching staff's credit, you got to plug and chug and figure out what works right now. That's certainly something to keep an eye on. I wanted to touch for a second on Daniel's point about their ceiling and floor, and kind of building off of you mentioned it could be a touchdown difference. You're absolutely correct. I don't disagree with that at all. But let's look at the SEC in general, and we are in a pass predominant world of football right now, and I don't know that that'll ever go back. Hashtag establish the run game. But I'm a big proponent of run the damn football. You guys know me. But if you can shut down teams' run games in large and make them one-dimensional, I mean, this is basic football, X's and O's stuff. There's only a handful of teams in this league, in the SEC, that are not going to have to modify their strategy. You look at Mississippi State, who's probably moving away from the air raid this year. Tennessee, who you don't play, but they don't run the ball much. And beyond that, it's kind of a crapshoot. I think that every other team, there's an element of you've got to be able to have a respectable run game, just like anywhere. And beyond that, you're kind of keeping yourself competitive if you can, like Daniel said, play at that level that we think that they can. You're limiting the Alabamas, the Georgias, the LSUs of the world that are going to lean heavy, especially Georgia, on being able to really pound the ball until you cheat up, and then they can burn you. If you don't give them that option, it opens up a whole new world of possibilities for this defense. And I like Auburn's chances if you leave it up to that secondary.
Yeah, I do too. And if you look at around the SEC, like a lot of Auburn's opponents are all pass heavy. Bama, with the addition of Bryce Young, Tua Tagovailoa, and back to Mac Jones, and 3 consecutive seasons, or not 3 consecutive eras. They go eras. That works. Sure. They're all pass heavy. Georgia has been predominantly moving towards the air game. They've been mostly a running back offense for years, but once I think it was after Nick Chubb and the DeAndre Swifts all went and gone, the Georgia running back room kind of took a step back from productivity. I'm not saying they're bad. I'm not saying that. I'm not saying they got worse. I'm just saying whenever you get Darnell Washington, Brock Bowers, Adonai Mitchell, when you got George Pickens, all those guys coming in from Georgia, the pass was pretty heavy at Georgia.
You have to throw the ball to those guys.
You have to. And the only teams that have really been staying true to the run game have been Auburn, Arkansas, and who else? I had a team, South Carolina. South Carolina, Beamer ball has always been pretty heavy on the run game. And Auburn and Arkansas have kind of fallen back a little bit because they've been so heavy on the run game that the pass game has been non-existent at times. I mean, and Arkansas is probably going to start moving towards a pass prevalent offense without Kendall Briles. And of course, South Carolina, Beamer ball is just going to be around forever. If it works, it works. If it doesn't, I mean, South Carolina fans haven't really, they're like Arkansas fans in the sense they haven't had recent success enough to where they can be upset with 8 to 9 wins.
Sure. Couldn't agree more. That kind of just gets you going back on down the rabbit hole that is the quarterback battle at Auburn, because it's so important to be able to throw the football in today's league. There's another quarterback battle at the professional level now. I'm going to go ahead and say it. I'll go ahead and say it. Today, as we're recording, this is the opening of NFL free agency, and obviously it's a mad frenzy. I'm sure that Daniel's got plenty of thoughts on how the Saints are doing. I honestly only kept up with the Auburn guys, full disclosure. My roommate's a diehard Falcons fan, so I know a little bit of what the Falcons have done, and my coworker's a Steelers fan, and I'm a Steelers fan. I don't know what we've done. I really couldn't tell you. I've just followed the Auburn guys. Jarrett Stidham, if you will. Studham, whatever you want to, however you want to go about that.
I like it.
Has signed a 2-year deal with the Denver Broncos. His decision. I think that the offer was still to stay in Vegas. I think that was very much on the table. Now we know that Vegas went and got Garoppolo, another story from another time, but he wanted to play with Sean Payton. Don't blame him. Don't blame him at all. I know some people talk about that. Yeah, Daniel's down here. He gets it. I know people say that Sean Payton's washed, overrated, whatever. I think this is a good move. And I mean, honestly, don't rule out Russ getting benched this year. Anyways, like I'm not even being like facetious. He was bad last year.
Yeah,
he was, and then they didn't even really have anyone to turn to. Like Jarrett Stidham has some talent on the football field. And
Jarrett Stidham played out of his mind with nobody left on the Raiders roster.
Right. And he's definitely a top 5, probably top 3 backup in the NFL.
Dylan, don't give me that look. Josh Jacobs wasn't even healthy that game.
Yeah, he was. That was
for 1.5.
Whenever he started getting really prevalent, he rushed for a lot of yards those last couple of games, I'm pretty sure. And Tay was still on the field.
Yeah, Darren Waller was not.
Well, Darren Waller had a down year anyways.
All right, we're not getting into the Raiders banter.
But I'm gonna go in a little rant about the Raiders a little bit because I'm a big Jarrett Stidham believer. I don't know why you spent so much money on Jimmy Garoppolo when you could have spent less money and kept Jarrett Stidham and then got a quarterback in the draft to back him up for a little bit.
I'm going to do you one better here, Dylan. Daniel, tell me I'm crazy. The Raiders let Jarrett Stidham to walk at a lower price tag to go get Jarrett Stidham.
A slower Jarrett Stidham.
I don't even think that's that much of a reach.
I would agree. It's really not.
And I'm a Jimmy G guy for sure. I've always liked Garoppolo. I think he's hilarious. He's good for the game, but he's not. I can't confidently tell you that he's better than Jarrett Stidham.
I texted one of my buddies. I said, "Yeah, so the Raiders just signed a less athletic, more expensive Jarrett Stidham, just because it's because he was a Patriot and he was on Kyle Shanahan's offense." And Josh McDaniels was like, "Oh well, I had him for a little bit. Why not just drop a bag?"
I'm sure he'll do fine there. Actually, I'm sure.
I'm sure he'll put up Jimmy Garoppolo numbers. That's what he does. He has a high completion percentage because he doesn't throw the ball past 5 yards. That's what has happened since he left New England.
I'm not here to drag Gucci Grop. That's not what I'm here to do. I'm here to talk Jarrett Stidham. I think that this is exciting for him. Definitely, he would not have signed that contract. I mean, obviously, he's probably going to want to be a career backup regardless. But if he didn't think that he was going to be the guy that if something goes south with Russ, if Russ gets hurt, or if, he plays, he stunk last year. He was bad. If he plays like that again, I mean, Stidham's a guy you could turn to and say, we could go 500 with this guy. Like, without a doubt.
And the Broncos signed 2 more offensive linemen too to help out, and hopefully, in their case, hopefully Russ doesn't perform like he did last year and performs more to the Russ that was the system quarterback in Seattle. But talk about other Auburn
literally is using this as an opportunity to drag NFL players right now, Daniel. This is unbelievable.
Hey, I'm like Sean Payton. I have a bounty out for some teams. But Jonathan Jones also got re-signed to the New England Patriots on a 2-year, $19 million deal, $13 million guaranteed. He'll be back with the New England Patriots I think he's been in the league for almost 8 years now. Yep. And Jonathan Jones was a really good cornerback at Auburn, if you remember him. And he's been performing pretty daggum well for New England. And to wrap up the NFL, another corner, Jamel Dean signed a huge contract with Tampa Bay. 4 years, $52 million, $26 million guaranteed. And per PFF, he's a top 10 corner in the league. And he locks up a cornerback room that is still very Auburn heavy. The 2 top guys in that cornerback room, Carlton Davis and Jamel Dean, who are studs.
Top 10. PFF has him as a top 10. I'm just saying. So does Tarr. All right, that's what really matters here. Jamel Dean's him. I mean, he's just so fundamentally sound. And he's a playmaker. Don't get me wrong, but like you can always count on, regardless of how healthy he is, which he's really not, doesn't battle a ton of injury, like regardless of what kind of day his team's having, he's so damn consistent. And his technique is never offbeat. The guy, I mean, I 4 years, 52 million, that kind of feels like a good price point. It feels like a really good price point. So that's a smart move, in my opinion. Daniel, feel free to chime in on the NFL since Dylan's successfully drugged Sean Payton.
Well, I love Jamel Dean a lot. One of my first Auburn players that I was really good for the Tigers early on in my fandom. Jonathan Jones, love him a lot too. He plays for my second favorite team. So good to see him, really thriving in the NFL at such an important position. And then we've talked about the STEM stuff, but that's cool. Not many people drafted outside of the first 2 or 3 rounds make it in the league this long. Drafted in 2019, that's 2023 now, so this will be year 4. So he's eligible for his pension.
Good for him. Oh, he got his extension. So yeah, he's fully eligible. Look at Stidham go. And for you Auburn fans who only remember 2018 Stidham, shame on you, because that dude played ball in 17. And you can say what you want. His offensive line was crap in 18, and dude was trying to make a play. You should never ever forget what Jarrett Stidham did in 2017. It was special. And I just want to leave it at that note. Another team that's been special in the past, decade almost, with Bruce Pearl. Let's talk Auburn basketball, and they've got a first round matchup that is anything but a cakewalk. That's what happens when you're a 9 seed. You get to take on Iowa on Thursday. That's March 16th at 5:50 p.m. Central. That'll be at the BJCC in Birmingham, and what Alan Flanagan and Wendell Green Jr. and pretty much everyone inside the program has labeled as another Auburn home game, because it is. Guys, I don't think Auburn could have been a lot more fortunate than they were with this. No. I mean, Iowa's not an easy draw. You're never going to avoid a 1 seed. We talked about it in the reaction show, Dylan. Daniel, I want to get your initial thoughts here when you heard about this matchup, because Dylan and I got to sit down and talk. I think Auburn matches up remarkably well with Iowa. I'm curious to get your thoughts on Thursday's game, and we're going to go more in depth on the Thursday show, but take your time, talk about where your head's at.
Sure. So I'll just kind of start at the beginning. I turn on the selection show, and then obviously they start with the South region, number 1 seed, number 1 overall seed in the tournament, Alabama, and they're in Birmingham. I'm like, dang, that means Auburn's probably not going to be in Birmingham, because at that point I forgot that the Midwest was playing there too. So it's like, damn, that sucks. Whatever. So I watched the rest of the show. Then they start getting into the Midwest, and they say Houston's a 1 seed, and I saw that they were playing in Birmingham, and I was like, maybe. And then they announced Auburn Tigers 9 seed Midwest playing in Birmingham. I'm like, okay, here we go. This is it. Okay. 8 and 9. Iowa's offense, phenomenal. 22nd in the country, averaging 80.8 points per game. Their defense, worst thing I've ever seen.
Awful.
They can't really stop a driving layup without committing a foul. So that's fine. Just take your pick. You either want them at the bucket or you want them at the line. That's fine. Don't jack up 33s, okay? This isn't 2019. All right, Jared Harper's not here. Bryce Brown's not here. I wish they were. They're not. So don't jack up 33s. There's no reason to. Go get the points at the rim. As NATO says, blue-collar basketball. Let's play that.
Sure. I don't disagree. The more threes you take, the more of a hole you're digging yourself into for this Auburn team. I don't mind open looks. That's never going to bother me, as long as it's coming from a Wendell Green, a Jalen Williams, depending on the day, Alan Flanagan.
You don't want to see Dylan Cardwell jack up a 3-pointer?
Listen, I don't know that he could have bricked it any less hard than Alan Flanagan did in the SEC tournament. Alan had a couple of just, why did you shoot that absolute Dranos? And then a couple of wide open, how do you miss the backboard kind of moments, which is about Alan Flanagan, just to be completely, I guess, candid. But question for you, Daniel. You're the only one of the 3 of us here still in school. Dylan and I were fortunate enough, not to rub it in anybody's face, but our freshman year was that magical Final Four year. And we were there. I got to roll tumors through all of it. It was a blast. My senior year and your freshman year, Daniel, we got to watch Jabari Smith and Walker Kessler and that group not perform where we thought that they could. That happens. I mean, this is March. Where where are the vibes at right now in terms of how excited is everyone? Where's how optimistic are the students and the fans? Is there that buzz on campus? And it'll probably never be like it was in 19, but is there that buzz on campus where it's like, you know what, we're in the dance, we have a shot?
Well, I'll just start by saying for a long time, like growing up, I've always been more into college basketball and college football.
Sure.
And I grew up a huge Indiana Hoosiers fan. So it just runs deep, man. My love for this sport and my love for this tournament. But I'm going to be honest, it doesn't feel the same as it did a year ago.
Sure.
There aren't 2 first-round draft picks on this team. We aren't a 2 seed. A lot of Auburn students have checked out. That's just the sad fact of the matter. I'm really glad that they won that game against Tennessee to end out the year, that you guys got to return to the Plains for. Always nice when I get to see y'all again. So that was good because A, it probably locked us into the tournament, and B, it just gave some energy back like to the students. But the very short answer to your question is it's not the same.
That's a little bit of a bummer to hear, but I'm not overly surprised. Let's keep moving. Let's talk betting lines real quick. I would usually like to throw these out when we get to postseason. Right now, Auburn, as time of tape, which this is going to change as the week goes on, Auburn is a 1-point favorite, over under 152. I love the under. I absolutely love the under, which is something I never say. But for you gambling folks, I just said take Auburn at -1 and take the under at 152. So that means take Iowa at +1 and then take the over because I am the world's shittiest gambler. But worth noting. Just quick question for both you guys. Auburn player with the most approved this week. I think it's Johnnie Broome.
Yeah, it is. It's for sure Johnnie Broome. We saw him against Arkansas just kind of give up a lot of points in the paint. We should not have ever expected that from Johnnie Broome. We should never seen that from Johnnie Broome. Sure. If he stepped up in defense just even like 25%, increased that much, the game is completely different. Now, right. The outcome might be a little different too. He has to prove he can put up the points that he did at the beginning of the season. I know it's you're getting closer to the end. Everyone's kind of tired. You're kind of wanting to get rested up before you have to go. I don't guess summer workouts are right there too. Got to get better. It's March. You got a 1 seed breathing down your neck. If you get past Iowa, you had to play your best basketball throughout the rest of these 5 games if you want to make it all the way.
Daniel, Iowa's not very tall. I think this is a Johnnie Broome opportunity.
All right. I could be wrong. Correct me if I am. I believe their tallest player is 6'8".
6'9", I think.
6'9". Okay. Yeah. So I kind of retweeting what Dylan said and what you said. Johnnie has a lot to prove because we've already talked about these bigs for Iowa particularly aren't very good defensively. So I would like to see a good number of Johnnie Broome points, and I would like to see him swat some shots down, man.
Yes.
It was open season on Johnnie Broome on Thursday night in Nashville.
It was.
So he's got to find. Sorry.
No, go ahead.
He's got to find a way to kind of disrupt their offense a little bit.
Agree.
Yeah.
And like what we were saying, that I was undersized, so I mean, Dylan Cardwell, when you get minutes, you have no excuse to not get boards. None. Absolutely none. I will take no excuses. And I know I'm as hard on Dylan as they come. And it's probably because I've seen what Dylan Cardwell can be. And I just kind of selfishly want him to always be that player because let me put this on the record right now. When Dylan Cardwell plays good basketball, Dylan Cardwell is a damn good basketball player. When Dylan Cardwell leaves his feet too early, it's time to put him on the bench.
Yeah.
It's one of those moments. But yeah, Johnnie Broome, I'll go ahead and say it, guys, this is aggressive. I'm expecting 20 points. You need it's 15 to 20 kind of night plus. And if you want to make sure you get out of this one alive, because if Iowa gets rolling and you don't get some turnovers or get defensive rebounds, they will shoot the lights out.
Yeah.
And that's something you can't really control. Is Auburn's season a failure? We'll start with you, Daniel. If the Tigers exit the tournament in the first round?
That's a tough question. I feel like there are 2 sides to that coin. On one hand, this team coming into the year, highly ranked, top 15 team, or I think they were 15 to start the year. A lot of talent, and there was a lot of anticipation, coming off last year's disappointment. Most of that team returned. Not the 2 biggest pieces, but the rest of them.
Sure.
Then, just Katie Johnson's not what he was last year. Alan Flanagan's about the same, which isn't saying much.
Sure.
Like Jay Will's obviously a little better, but I just feel like that's because he had more opportunity. And I could go on and on, but honestly, yeah, I think it is a little bit of a disappointment if they lose in the first round here. But
Sure.
at the same time, I feel like Bruce Pearl even said at one point that this was kind of going to be a rebuilding year.
Yeah.
So I guess on that front, it's not really. Like, this is still only one of 12 Auburn teams to make the tournament.
Sure.
We're that the program's still at that point. So
yeah, at the blue blood point, you're right.
So they can say whatever they want. Like fans can complain all they want, but this team can still respond with we still had a top 12 season in the history of the program.
Love it. Great analysis, Dylan. We'll quickly your thoughts, and then we'll keep the show on the road.
All right, I'm gonna kind of reach what Daniel said. I'm gonna say it's a disappointment, but it's not a failure. I think losing Jabari Smith and Walker Kessler in the same season, I think you probably weren't expecting this team to be a Final Four team again. I know people have been drawing comparisons to it all daggum year that this is the 2019 team all over again. It's not. Quit doing that. This team is, I'm going to say what you and Jacob Goins always say, this team is what it is. This team is not a three-point shooting team. This is a down year for Auburn basketball, but it's not a down enough year to where I can say it's a complete failure of the season. You made the tournament without Jabari Smith and Walker Kessler. So disappointment, not a failure.
I don't really need to spend much of my energy here. I kind of agree with you guys. It's a down year, but if this is the state of the program in a down year, Auburn fans, you take that, especially those of you that lived through the Tony Barbie era. God rest your souls. I lived through Josh Pastner and Paul Hewitt at Georgia Tech, so I understand what you went through.
And Paul Johnson.
Paul Johnson was kind of fun. We're not going there. Women's basketball, really, really quick. Coach J, year 2 on the Plains. Auburn is in the WNIT, and they're hosting a WNIT game. They're going to play host to Tulane on Friday night. Big time, huge step for the program. I was really encouraged to hear when we reached out and talked to Coach J a little bit last week, and she said, she wants to come on the show, so that's exciting, but she wanted to make sure that they put the WNIT first. Absolutely get it. Very excited for them. Glad they accepted their bid. I personally cannot stand when teams don't accept their bid to the NIT. And
North Carolina.
Yeah, you can read into that as you will. Moving forward, Daniel, your time to shine, my man. SEC Gymnastics Championship this weekend. I was supposed to be there in person. Unfortunately, personal matters, got to take care of some stuff. Life happens. Will not be in attendance. Make sure you say hey to my folks for me. They're still going. And let us know here. Outlook, 1, is Suni Lee going to be there? Is she going to be able to compete, rather? And 2, is there any reason where Auburn couldn't win an SEC title?
Yeah, so unfortunately, I'm no longer going to be there either because unless Auburn loses on Thursday, then I'll still be there. But yeah, I'm not optimistic about Suni competing, which is really unfortunate. Apparently she's still hobbling around pretty good on that injured leg. And she was not standing very much at the meet on Friday night, from what I've heard. So I wouldn't count on her competing. And the other question was, is there a reason Auburn couldn't win? And the answer is yes, because they haven't won. Of the 3 meets this year where Suni hasn't competed, they've won 1. They lost to Missouri without her, and they lost to Kentucky, but they beat Penn State.
All right. For those of you watching the video broadcast or video version of this, you know that Dylan and I just learned something brand new. So that's new information to us. We were under the impression, and this is not Daniel's fault. I'm not throwing Daniel under the bus. We were under the impression that Suni was going to be healthy this weekend. So there's your update. I mean, you're still looking for picking up slack from Cassie Stevens, Darion Goborn, Sophia Groth. The list goes on and on. I thought Olivia did really well last week.
Yeah,
and
they can still do it for sure.
It's just going to be a significantly more of a team effort this week, evidently. Yeah. Let's keep things rolling. Talk a little bit on the diamond before we get out of here. First and foremost, softball. No midweek games. Got to gear up for the what's the name of the classic this weekend? Help me out here.
Oklahoma City something.
Yeah, the Oklahoma City Classic, I believe, something to that effect, and an interesting slate there. Baseball, while Dylan, I know he's doing his homework right now and sifting through softball. Baseball is going to take on Georgia Tech today as the show's coming out 6 p.m. Tech, we talked about this on the Sunday show. This could be a recurring opponent this year and should be a contender that has a host of talent. Dylan, go ahead. You were going to talk about softball for half a second.
Yeah, softball is playing the Oklahoma Hall of Fame Classic, where they would take on Weber State on Friday, Northwestern on Friday, Northwestern on Saturday, and
right.
Oklahoma on Saturday and Sunday.
Right. So you get a really, really tough opponent, and we will preview that on the Thursday episode for certain, and especially with matchups like those names at the end of the weekend. Like I said, Auburn Baseball taking on Georgia Tech at Plainsman Park, first of a 2-game series that they'll do a home and home this year. Love those, by the way. Super fun. We talk about that all the time. Love non-conference home and homes, and having a renewed rivalry with like Georgia Tech. Super fun. Like we mentioned before, Georgia Tech's going to be a contender in the ACC this year. They're a contender every year in the ACC. They've got a host of talent. And it's going to be a pretty level pitching matchup. Auburn, we talked about this on Sunday. We figured they would throw Tommy Vale. They're going to throw Tommy Vale. He's 2-0 with an 0.00 ERA. That's a lot of O's in one sentence. But Tech's going to throw Ben King, redshirt sophomore, 2-0 with an 0.00 ERA. So get ready for a pitcher's duel. Guys, I think this is a pretty damn important non-con.
I would agree. First of all, I'm all about shameless plug. If you're unable to watch this one, you can follow me on Twitter at Daniel J. Locke for updates, as I'll be covering the game. But yeah, they've got to get off to a fast start. Auburn, that is, because in both games they lost to Southeast Louisiana. They let them get ahead, and in the second game of the doubleheader on Saturday, they had a 9th inning comeback that fell 1 run short of being enough. So they fight, like they've got good discipline, but it's a lot easier if you don't have to do that, if you can just kind of keep pace the whole game or maybe get out a little ahead. So I'm really looking at the offense in the early innings, like innings 1 through 3, to really get some production going, because that's been when the offense is at its worst this year, which is kind of normal for baseball. Normally you want your like top 3 innings to be your worst, but if you can get solid production the whole game, like
go grab a run or two.
Right. That's how you get to Omaha.
That's right. Absolutely right. Dylan, I think that we'll wrap it up here, but I will tell everybody this. I like Auburn in this matchup with Tech. I got to watch Tech and see their bullpen this past weekend. They dominated Notre Dame through 2 games. Did not look good in game 3, which we've seen Auburn do. That feels pretty level there. But I like Auburn in this one just because you're at home, and also I think that the Auburn bullpen is a little deeper than the Georgia Tech bullpen, which is, for all intents and purposes, good because I think Tech's throwing a lot of young arms. Daniel, go ahead and get us started. We're going to work our way around and get out of here. Hope everybody enjoyed the Owen Pappoe interview as much as we did. So, Daniel, go right ahead.
Yeah, once again, big thanks to Owen. Hope to have him on again sometime. That was a lot of fun. And I want some D-Hall barbecue. But you can follow me on Twitter at Daniel J. Locke and check out my written work for The Observer or any Auburn student media outlet.
I am Harrison Tarr at by Harrison Tarr on Twitter, like you're reading a byline. If you want to see my written work and check that out, that is at the Auburn Daily, theauburndaily.com. Make sure you check all of that written work out. Also, my other podcasting work is on the Auburn Daily Show every Wednesday with Dylan Larck, every Friday with the legendary Lindsey Crosby. Lots of fun stuff going on over there. A lot of fun stuff coming up here on the College Loop. Make sure you're logged in and not subscribed, but I'm going to subscribe to YouTube. Yeah. Make sure you're signed up for the bracket challenge. We've got almost 50 people in the bracket challenge, and we're giving away 4 tickets to 8A and another special surprise for that. So we're super excited for that. Dylan, go ahead and get us out of here.
All right, I'm Dylan Larck at your boy The Tank on Twitter. That's at YABOI The Tank. And you can also catch me on the Auburn Daily Show tomorrow as this comes out, where me and Harrison Tarr are going to talk a little basketball, maybe a little football too. We don't know yet. It's going to be one of those two more than likely. But yeah, follow the College Loop literally everywhere. That's Spotify, Apple Podcasts, Google Podcasts, and Amazon Music if you like the audio version. And if you like how funny we are, you can also catch us up on YouTube, Twitter, TikTok, Instagram, and Facebook. But sadly, we do not have a MySpace quite yet. But with that being said, for the College Loop Podcast.